Welcome everybody to the Hannahcast. This is a interesting episode. This is where this is going to be going up on Sunday, and I just saw Doctor Strange, but I'm not alone. We also have Raphael here with us. Oh, yeah, yeah. There's a decent amount. There's a decent number of people. Oh yeah, we'll get to, yeah. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Let me just flip your image here to make it look like you're facing me. Boop. There we go. Oh, hello there, little cartoon Raphael. But yeah, we saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This
I
is
think you mean Dormammu in the Multiverse of Madness.
yeah. This was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I think it was actually number 2 behind the Batman in terms of anticipation because having seen WandaVision and Spider-Man No Way Home, and I will say there's gonna be some spoilers for No Way Home and in WandaVision, and since this is a spoiler discussion, it's also a spoiler. We're going to be talking about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in full spoiler detail.
If you haven't seen it, stop watching right now.
Yeah, stop
Go,
watching. Right, this video will be here when you come back. Don't worry.
yeah, go watch it.
But yeah, I was everything going into this movie because once Spider-Man No Way Home unleashed the multiverse, that has ramifications.
Yeah,
Because we that No Way Home literally did what we thought was the impossible, bringing back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and all those other.
opening the doors for so many other possibilities too. And that's the thing that I really liked. Going into this movie, it had a lot of build.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I will say, I think this how do I describe it? It's like there are cameos in this movie, and we will get to those, but they're nowhere near. I mean, technically, No Way Home didn't really have cameos other than Matt and Murdock, because everyone else was like legitimate supporting characters, like even Toby. Because I actually rewatched No Way Home not long ago, and the funny thing is that I thought Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield showed up at the beginning of the third act. Actually, I was kind of wrong. They actually showed up not long after the first half. So they were in the movie way more than I anticipated. But yeah, I would really say in the grand scheme of things, Doctor Strange really is more about Doctor Strange than what surprise characters might pop up. These would definitely be cameos, but regardless, basically in this film, America Chavez, this girl who can jump between multiverses and is the only is the only America Chavez in the entire multiverse. She has the power to jump between multiverses. Yeah, yeah, universe. That's what I meant. Why did I say multiverses? Yeah. Oh wait a minute. Did I actually wait? I just Oh man, I just realized I didn't your microphone wasn't on. I mean, not your microphone wasn't on, but I kind of goofed. I
Oh
forgot to.
yeah, it didn't the audio capture. It's okay.
Yeah,
We can fix it.
yeah, I've no. I mean, I forgot to copy and paste your audio thing. Hold on. Oh, wait. Can I not copy and paste this? That is weird. It's not letting me copy and paste that.
What are you trying to copy and paste?
Your audio source. Oh,
Um,
there it is. There it is. I found it.
yeah.
And all right, you should. Yeah, now we're back. Sorry.
Tomato.
Yeah.
That was my test.
Anyways, yeah. Raphael is here. There we go.
I now exist.
He finally exists.
I'm not just a figment of Christian's imagination anymore.
I'm not crazy. I told you guys I'm not crazy. But there's definitely someone in this who is kind of crazy, and we will get to that in a bit. But
Oh yeah.
and basically, this unforeseen danger is hunting America Chavez in order to take her powers for some unknown reason, and then then Doctor Strange at least attempts to get the help of Wanda Maximoff, and since this is a spoiler review, that doesn't go well. And it turns out she was the one after America Chavez.
Yeah, she gave him. It was like that scene in Star Wars Episode 4, where Luke asks Obi-Wan, "Hey, do you know Obi-Wan?" And Obi-Wan's like, "Of course I know him. He's me." Except Doctor Strange went over there and was like, "Hey Wanda, do you know who's hunting America?" And Wanda was like, "Of course I know who's hunting America. It's me."
Yeah, that didn't go well.
No, and that scene I really enjoyed a lot. I still can't stop thinking about it. The whole little mistake and quote unquote mistake, because I think that Wanda is so powerful that she knew why Strange was there before Strange even knew that he was going to go there. And
explain the scene. What happened?
Yeah, so basically what happens with Wanda, Strange goes to her for help in finding out who's after America, because he noticed that on that big eye tentacle monster that attacked the city during I forgot Christine's wedding, he noticed that there were runes on the marker, runes on the beast. There were witch markings on the beast. So he said, "Well, I know a powerful mage of sorts, Wanda Maximoff." So he went over there to ask for her help in finding out who's hunting America and why. And before he even really gets to explaining what he needs from her, she literally name drops America, looks him dead in the eye, and says, "Wait, you didn't tell me her name yet, did you?" And then he was like, "No," and then she lets the whole charade fall. They even start discussing before that the events from WandaVision and how she's, a better person now, and how he's not here to talk about that because, she ultimately fixed that whole situation. But she makes no effort to hide after that point that she is the one that's hunting America, and that she's out to get her powers for, her own gain, and even goes so far as to threaten Steven and saying, "If you don't give her up by sundown, I'll just take her from you and kill everyone in Camartage." And yes, her gain, which again, I completely agree with you when you were saying about how strong of a villain she is in this movie. She wants, she wants to jump to a universe to be with her kids from WandaVision, because this is another thing that they established, which I thought was a very interesting concept, and that's that dreams are actually flashes from your alternate selves throughout the multiverse. So basically, you're getting to see into another universe's version of you for the period of time that you're dreaming. And I thought that was really cool. But Wanda says that she constantly has dreams about her children, meaning that they have to exist in various other multiverses, and she just wants to go to one where she can be with them.
Yeah.
Even if it means harvesting America's life force and power. America Chavez is not I also thought that her name being America was very funny, just because of the place America and well, the sentence, "Wanda wants to suck all of the life force and power out of America."
Oh boy!
But that's what she wants to do. She wants to slurp her up like a slushie and.
That's not good. That's poor choice of words considering she's a teenager.
Rick, it just keeps getting worse.
Why do you keep doing it? No. Why do you keep
It just
doing?
keeps getting worse.
You're
Why does the FBI want to know my location?
no, they're gonna want to know my location because like it's my channel, and they may want to come after you too. Okay,
Yeah.
he didn't actually mean it that way. I should like that. Like
Oh no
it's
no no!
just
It
poor.
was
It's just poor choice of
poor choice of words for
poor
sure. But
choice of
anyways, yeah,
words.
Wanda wants to kill America Chavez, and take her powers for herself. And I thought that the setup, I liked that it was very it didn't take a lot of time going through a bunch of boring intro stuff. It did. It obviously didn't have to, but it didn't. It didn't pad itself at all. I thought that's one thing I did want to mention. I thought that every minute of the movie was well used and used to convey something important and interesting, which I thought was incredible. But yeah, the that whole scene was freaking awesome.
Yeah, like one to max him off as the because like one of the issues I kind of had with with the last episode of WandaVision was where like at the end of the episode, once the day's saved, Rambeau, the one who's gonna be like the another Captain Marvel, she's like, these people are grateful for you saving them. I'm like, what are you talking about? She enslaved them for who God knows when. Like, in what way? Like, I feel like the ending of WandaVision made her out too much to look like a good guy, and I was like, they probably should have made this a little bit more of an eerie ending in WandaVision. But I do believe they definitely delivered that in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because I'm going to say, like, she's right, she's now in my top 3 favorite MCU villains, along with, Killmonger and Thanos. Like, she's that good in this movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I would wholeheartedly agree. She does an amazing job and definitely deserves to be up there with Thanos and Killmonger in the list of like top Marvel MCU MCU villains, because she a what I really liked about her character in this movie is that even though her end game the way of getting to it is pretty awful and messed up, it's understandable, and to a certain degree for some people who might have children, not me, because I don't, maybe even relatable, which I thought was a very good tool for her character in this movie, especially with her giving her the role of villain. And then another thing that on top of that helped that in my opinion, was having seen her as the good guy in everything else, and then WandaVision too, because WandaVision I think has become more important than it ever was with the release of this movie, because it sort of goes to fill in that after the world is saved, what did Wanda go through, and WandaVision um is that in essence. She suffered after the events of Avengers Endgame. Every day after that um, uh, was just pain and a reminder of everything that she lost. Because while a lot of people, and that's another thing that I think this movie tackled really well, while a lot of people were happy to see everybody that came back from the blip, there were still losses during that whole thing. There were people that blipped back and lost whole family members, like in the beginning of the movie when he gets confronted by that guy who's like, I lost my cats and my brother. Um, not while everyone did the best that they could
It
with the
like
situation of Thanos and stuff, it just it goes to show you can be a hero all you want.
you can't get everything done.
There's always going to be somebody out there, a group of people. If it's one, you're really lucky that you let down, that feel like you didn't do enough, and I'm not satisfied or happy.
And a
And
lot.
and that was
And like Captain America: Civil War definitely, show like was one of the first, MC movies to show that there are actions to saving the day. It's not all. It's
yeah.
not. It's never
Yep.
squeaky clean. But
It's all there's always something. You always lose something, or and in most cases someone. Um, but yeah, I think the Civil War definitely did a good job of impressing that, and this movie I think did an excellent job as well of driving that point home. I thought that scene during the wedding was, although sort of funny, still powerful in its own right, especially when he started talking about his brother and stuff, and I was just like, damn.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
that's one of
The
the
people that came back and shit, my mom's gone and stuff. Like,
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, because like that's one of the things I always push back on when people complain about Marvel not being cinema and it's just, like oh, it's just jokes and action sequences. It's like, well, yeah, there are jokes, but there are a lot of times where the like there's heaviness to that joke. Like for
Yeah, it's
example,
deep.
for example, Fat Thor. I mean, yeah, it was kind of funny to
Yeah.
see him fat, but
Yeah,
that was
when
coming
you get to
from
the
years of
why,
pain
yeah,
and
and also when you get to yeah, exactly. When you get to like the underneath of the like because a good joke doesn't need to be explained, sure, but the joke still works even if you don't explain it. But when you start to explain it and you start to sort of reveal the layers under it,
there's a
it
sadness to
becomes
it.
it becomes depressing. It doesn't really become a joke. Thor became fat because he didn't know what else to do with himself after the trauma that was Endgame
No,
and and
Infinity
and
War.
Infinity War. My bad. But yeah, and I thought that was an excellent way to show that in keep it light if you don't want to look too far past it. But there's a little treat in there for those that do, and it's the sad reality of why it's like that.
Yeah, and that's why that's one of the many things that I really feel like Marvel does really well. Like balancing out the dark with the light, but also but even within that light, there is always still a seriousness beneath that. Like because like they always say pain like comedy comes from some sort of pain,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's but
If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
yeah, and sometimes, there are some moments where you'll cry Marvel, but regardless of the fact, there's there's a lot of things that have to do with this. Like let's talk about America Chavez first. Like,
Yes, yes. There's a lot to unpack with her.
yeah, she was really likable. Now, I told you this when we were when we were driving home, and it was that this was Doctor Strange 2 was not going to be her initial debut. She was originally going to debut in Spider-Man 3 before it was called No Way Home. I'm not even sure if it was going to be called No Way Home because basically what happened was because of COVID, originally Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was supposed to come out before Spider-Man 3, but then COVID scheduling happened, and so they had to switch they had to switch positions in terms of the timeline in the MCU, and so America Chavez was originally going to be in Spider-Man 3 and be played by or at least she was in the running, but Isabella Merced, who I've always praised in her for her performance in Dora and the Lost City of Gold, and yes, I'm telling you people, that movie is way better than it had any right to be, but
It surprised me like the Lego movie did because like for all intents and purposes, it should just be a kids movie. And kids movies, because they are marketed and aimed at kids, they don't need to try that hard. But for whatever reason, they did. But you know what? I'm not complaining. I'm really not complaining because it was fire.
Yeah, and so she was in the running to be America Chavez. I don't know what happened between them, but we got this new girl who, granted, I don't know her name.
Seeing as, oh sorry, go ahead.
I think her name is Zacto Gomez.
Okay.
I don't exactly know.
I hadn't seen her in anything else either. So she was a new face to me as well. But I also did want to say that I wouldn't think that any of her lack of involvement at this point in the movie, or I wouldn't think that any of it was anything that dramatic because it didn't make news. I feel like it was probably just a question of scheduling conflicts and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying there's any bad blood between Isabella and
Oh, me
Marvel.
neither. Me neither. Yeah, I'm just
But
I'm just theorizing.
because the funny thing is like this was not the first time but like this is not the only time like she got close to being in a superhero role. Like she was going to be America Chavez in this, and she was in the running to play Batgirl in the upcoming Batgirl movie before it went to the woman from In the Heights. I forget her name, but
Hey, see, I thought you were gonna say the CW show, and I was about to
yeah,
say,
no,
oh,
not that.
good. She
No,
dodged, she dodged,
no,
she
that's
dodged
Bat.
a massive bullet.
Yeah, no, not that's Batwoman, not Batgirl.
That's right.
Yeah, but yeah, but yeah, America Chavez I thought was really charming in this. She like her powers are really cool. Um,
Yeah.
I don't like I I'm willing to bet we're gonna see more of her. Like, well, we're definitely gonna see more of her. But I'm willing to bet that she's gonna like maybe get her own Disney Plus series because I don't know if they would put her in as the lead in a movie yet or what you could do. But I'm willing to bet that she's probably gonna be in like a Disney Plus Marvel show, and maybe Benedict Wong will be like a supporting character in that. And but
That'd be really cool. I think that you know, for with what they planned to do and the workarounds that they had to do, they did great because, like you said, she was very likable. But also, I learned a lot about her, even though this was the first time that we're seeing her, and it didn't feel forced. It felt like a natural progression of her slowly coming to trust Doctor Strange. Especially, this is something we haven't talked about yet that we should have. The first scene, the dream sequence.
ooh,
Especially after that, which is probably why it took her so long to kind of open up to Strange,
yeah, because
and
this
why
time,
I think, and why I think, which is another thing that I'm going to mention that we're going to get into later, why I think it took him opening himself up to her before she could do the same. And I'm of course referring to the memory scanny thing. When they first got to that new universe, which we will get to that later. But the first thing that I mentioned was the dream sequence. So this movie actually opens up in a very in a very intense chase from some unknown horrible entity with a Doctor Strange that it's eventually established is a Sorcerer Supreme and is from a different universe. Um, and it boils to the point where they're trying to get to this artifact, but the horrible creature gets in their way and wounds Strange, and he comes to the conclusion that he has to kill America Chavez and take her powers so that whoever is hunting her, which we now know is Wanda Maximoff, which is probably why he came to such a horrible conclusion. Um, it's the only way for him to save the entire multiverse. So that Strange actually attempts to kill America Chavez, but doesn't get to do it, and he fully intends to, but is stopped by whatever is chasing them. He's outright killed by it, and she runs and then falls into Earth 616's Strange, which is the movie, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Doctor Stephen Strange.
yeah, like another thing I want to also say about this movie, it's directed by Sam Raimi, and this like I would definitely say this is the MCU movie with the most atmosphere. Like,
Yeah, and it definitely had a lot of his I don't really know what the word I'm looking for, but he left his marks on it, so to speak. Like it
yeah, like the
really
weird
did
camera, like
a
the
lot of
weird
yeah,
camera angles,
the weird angles, and then yes, and also a lot of the inside shots straight up reminded me of the Evil Dead 2. There were like three distinct scenes outside of the one with a cameo that we're going to talk about.
I mean, we could probably talk about that
That
one now.
oh
Like,
yeah, the Bruce Campbell cameo. I'll
yeah,
just mention it.
yeah, yeah. The fact that saying that Bruce Campbell, actually, I think it was already announced that Bruce Campbell was gonna make a cameo in this. But even if he
But
wasn't,
the cameo that he did, bro, that was straight up Evil Dead 2 energy.
yeah,
As
like
fuck,
he
bro.
starts
We
messing
turned at
with.
each other.
Like basically,
Yeah.
he starts messing with Strange and America Chavez, and Doctor Strange just goes, "All right, I know how to deal with them," and pretty much just the guy starts he uses magic to make Bruce Campbell start punching and hitting himself
Yeah,
with
just
one of
like
his
in
arms.
Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, it was. I turned to you, I was like, "Holy shit, this is
Yeah,
like
no,
Evil
we
Dead
turned at
2.
each other, and then yeah, you said, and I was like, bro, fuck yeah, it is, because
Yeah,
that's the same thing that I was thinking, and but also some of the inside shots, like the very first time when Wanda breaks through into Comertage and they get into that tight room and Strange tries to trap her in
oh
a mirror
yeah, like
dimension.
that
And then
it was
that
so
whole
weird.
yeah, it was so but it also the way all the doors closed and the music started picking up, I was like, man, this feels like
This
almost an Evil Dead 2 remake. Like I'm about this.
Yeah,
And then
this is
also
yeah, because like it really felt like Evil Dead with like a gigantic, well, like probably a
yes,
200 million plus budget.
Yeah, 200 million plus budget, and also it felt like the characters had more of a chance of surviving. But even then, it didn't matter much because I will say this also: a lot of fucking people died in this movie.
We'll get to
Like, oh
specifically
my
who died
god,
later,
yeah.
but like,
But in any case, the other scene that was interesting to me that reminded me a lot of the Evil Dead, and this one might not have been maybe as clear to you. I'd like to hear what you think after I say this, but so I won't say who's in the scene outside of Wanda because we're gonna get to that. But it
I
was during that time. I think you know who I'm talking about. How he died. So when she's underneath the thing, it reminded me literally of the shot in the Evil Dead 2, I believe, where the old woman comes out of the cellar and he's like, "I'm gonna help you out of there," and then it's really just a bait because she's a monster the whole time. Just like in that scene,
oh
her
when
being down there.
when somebody pops up
Yes,
behind this character.
yes, and snaps. It's a setup. It's a bait, and I was just like,
Oh,
oh my god, that is some Evil Dead energy. Like, oh, I love it. I
this
love it.
movie,
I love it. I love it.
like Sam Raimi's, not Sam Raimi, like Kevin Feige said this was gonna be like the first sort of Marvel horror movie, and I definitely get where he's coming from
I
with that
agree. Yeah,
because like
me
this
too.
movie
Me
was,
too.
I'm
Like
not going
like
like
I was kind of on the fence about it, like right after the movie. But thinking about it more, and then also thinking about just how much it reminded me of the Evil Dead, I completely agree with what he's saying there. Yeah, it's definitely like a
like
Uh,
it's a
I would put it in the same realm as like The Lighthouse, where it's a lot more than just horror. Because as much of a horror movie that The Lighthouse is, you're gonna be laughing quite a few
yeah.
times. It's pretty funny at some
Yeah,
points.
yeah. The reason why I consider this one sort of a horror movie is because it has a lot of the horror tropes in there, like spooky shadows, some
There's
jump
jump
scares, like
scares too. There was a fat jump scare.
Wanda scared me. Oh my! Remember when she just crawled out of like this like the
Yes, the
gong and
body
she just?
contortion, the body
I
contortion,
was
dude.
actually
Yes.
freaking out. I was like,
Me too.
ugh.
That made me cringe. That made me cringe. And also the jump scare when Wanda gets to the place with Wong, that was a solid ass jump scare. That made me
Oh,
recoil, dude. That
another.
actually made me recoil.
And there's a few other things that made me recoil as well. But another thing that made me go like, ugh, was when they're trying to do the blockade, trying to stop Wanda from going there, and then you just see like it cuts to this, or like it pans like this one guy,
Yeah,
and
when she's
she
like
just
scanning the field
she's
like a predator, dude.
but then she just ran like not literally, but like figuratively, like moves right behind him, and she just whispers in his ear like
Run.
"run." I was like, ugh. Like
Yeah,
they
dude. It was. Yeah.
this movie cause like when Kevin Feige said he was going to be doing like a horror movie, I was like, okay, not. I was thinking, it's still going to be like they're not going to go that hard. No,
No,
like
but she was actually intimidating,
no,
and her presence. That's another thing.
there were some parts where I was actually questioning how this was PG-13. If I'm being
Me
honest,
too. Me too.
this is the most.
Especially the part where in Earth 818, dude, where she and oh my god, when she took that other version of herself's body, dude, like her whole appearance and demeanor, walking barefoot through glass, it literally
Ugh.
reminded me of something like
She was
straight up
literally
out
like a
of.
monster. Like she was like a
Yeah,
monster in
dude,
the
it
sewers.
straight up reminded me of that last scene in Split, where he finally embraces
Ugh.
the full monster form and he's like crawling on the ceiling, smashing light bulbs and stuff. It literally reminded me of that, and I was like, wow, that's that's off. That's unsettling to say the least.
Yeah,
Like that's the tunnel chase, especially when she appears in front of the door and stuff. That was just it was tight and it was so uneasy. It was so unsettling. It's very. I loved it. I loved it.
I mean, we might as well go into some of those cameos now because a lot of that has to do with that body horror. It was really cool that we finally got to see John Krasinski as Reed Richards until he wasn't anymore. Because
Until it literally got popped, dude.
yeah, like okay, well first let's talk about these cameos. Like we have John Krasinski as Reed Richards,
Yep.
which everyone had been clamoring for. Like everyone was wanting, John Krasinski to be Reed Richards. You have a variant of Captain Marvel who is Monica Rambeau or wait, I don't know.
Rambo, yeah.
I don't know if it's because I don't know if Monica is the one here or if Monica was the one in WandaVision. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're right. But either way, yeah. There was also,
Like
which I
so
think the biggest one. We'll get through because we also did we mention Captain Carter?
Oh yeah, apparently, like this kind of this what was it? This movie does, I guess, kind of put the nail in the coffin in that what if is officially canon in the MCU, because I had my doubts, because I was like this stuff is kind of wacky. I don't know if they'll ever cross this over into the movies, but they did. They had
So Mordo.
wait, Mordo Rambeau.
No, Mordo, the other.
Oh yeah,
The
Mordo. Yeah,
Carl,
there was Mordo, and then was also this Whisper
biggest
guy.
one.
There was also
Yeah,
that Whisper
Whisper.
guy. I forget his
Yeah,
name. He was in Inhumans. But we also got to see,
biggest one.
Professor, like Charles Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier. But the funny thing is, like, unlike, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and No Way Home and their villains, where clearly they, like, when, they reference events that happened in those movies, it's kind of obvious that those were those versions of the characters that we grew up with. This Professor X, I wouldn't say is from the X-Men movies we've watched so far. Like, because he has, like, this little bumper car chair that is very similar to that,
Yeah.
in the X-Men cartoon from the 90s. Still there?
Yeah, I was taking a swig of water. Yeah, I agree though. The other thing also as well is the music, the theme song.
Yeah,
When he first appeared.
yeah, because, like, I've never watched the X-Men cartoon. You said you have, and I'm going to
Oh
ask you,
yeah,
and
amazing.
I know I already asked you before, but like, obviously this isn't the same Charles Xavier from the movies. Do you think this Xavier, even though he's played by Patrick Stewart, is the one from the X-Men cartoon?
I think it's 110% plausible. And yes, I do think that it is. What makes me think that the most, and also the chair is one of them, but also it's the chair, and then also the theme song.
Yeah.
Okay, the theme song that came on when he first appeared, and I heard that and I immediately thought, oh hey, it's the freaking X-Men theme song. But yeah, I do think that to some degree, they were definitely trying to at least imply that was a Charles Xavier as we'd seen him in the X-Men uh, animated series.
Yeah. And
Now, as
n-
to
now, and I will say, there are three guarantees in life: death, taxes, and Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier will die. Like, he's died so many times up to this point. It's almost kind of hilarious, because he died in X-Men: The Last Stand. Okay, he died in Logan. Okay, he almost died in X-Men: Days of Future Past. I mean, well, like in a split second before the timeline had to be reshaped, and well, now he gets killed off here by Wanda in a really in kind of a gruesome manner.
horribly gruesome manner, and that's the scene that I was talking about that reminded me of the Evil Dead, with the scene where the old woman's coming up out of the basement door, but it's chained closed when she's trapped down there under the rubble. And when she's trapped down there under the rubble, and Charles is like, maybe if I pull you out, it'll help. But no, he just gets his neck snapped and dies in real life.
Yeah, and let's
But also just the way she killed all the other
yeah,
freaking
I was
members of the
I was
Illuminati.
yeah, I was kind of sad that even John Krasinski's Reed Richards went so quickly. I was like,
And how he went too. She literally popped him. She turned him into string and then popped him. And
oh
then the same thing, and then the Black Bolt just literally blew his head off.
No, not even blew. Not even blew his head off. She must have like indented his head and squished his brain or something.
Oh no, you know how his superpower is to scream things? Imagine releasing that much pressure but not giving it
Oh,
anywhere to go.
now I realize.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
she
Oh,
made him blow his own head off because he screamed at the horror of not having I have no mouth, but I must scream. It
oh,
was terrifying.
yeah. And actually, no. I'll tell you the one who I definitely did not expect to die. Captain Carter.
Oh yeah, and she got
I,
bifurcated. She
because like
got split in half by her own shield.
yeah, that was. I mean, that was gruesome. But it's like they put a lot of emphasis on her on What If. Now, granted, there could be maybe like another variant of her in What If. I don't know, but I don't. But like this, like that was gruesome. That's what I'm saying. This movie went really hardcore with the violence. It's like all this body horror and just like grotesque imagery, and it's not bad. It's really cool to see Marvel go this route, because like No Way Home for the most part was kind of like this fun adventure. I mean, granted, yeah, Aunt May died, okay, but it's like it was mostly kind
That
of
one was really depressing.
but for the most part, No Way Home was very lighthearted, even to the point to where they go, oh, these supervillains, they get to go back to their worlds and not die, which I don't have a problem with. But it's like we go from that really lighthearted movie to probably the most dark and depressing MCU. Well, at least one of the more grotesque MCU movies to date. Because I think maybe in terms of depressing, I think maybe Infinity War might have done that, but man, but it was like overall, for example, like what do you think of them actually getting John Krasinski to be Reed Richards in this?
I liked it. I think that it's something that they should definitely do again. And I'm hoping that they give him his own feature-length film, if not Disney Plus TV series or something that maybe establishes him in the Earth 616 universe.
Or because I told you this earlier, and it's that originally John Watts, the director of this most recent Spider-Man trilogy, he was set to direct Fantastic Four, like the MCU for Fantastic Four, but then all of a sudden, it was announced that he'd be stepping away from the project, and the explanation was that he wanted to take a break from comic book movies. But how was that? I don't know how that would be the case, because he hadn't even filmed Spider-Man 3 yet, and even then, it's like he was already signed on. So like, what are you gonna do? And I don't think there was any bad blood. I don't think there was any bad blood between him and Marvel. I think what I theorize may have happened is, and I don't have any evidence to back this up, but that Kevin Feige saw that John Krasinski was a better fit as a director for Fantastic Four, and went to John Watts and said, okay, how about that? Like, we'll have John Krasinski do Fantastic Four, but we're gonna save you for later. How about that? And I think that's what's going on, because the idea of John Krasinski directing a Fantastic Four movie and potentially starring in it, I think would be great, because obviously with the Quiet Place movies, at least and in my opinion more so Quiet Place Part 2. Because the thing is, like, for me with the first A Quiet Place, it was really one problem I had with the movie, and I feel like if they just took that out, it would have been a lot better. But other than even that, like, he got the general sense of John Krasinski gets family themes and whatnot, and I feel like he would definitely do that very well with Fantastic Four.
Yeah, no, I gotta agree. Yeah,
Yeah, and
I think yeah.
And I really can't wait for that day, because like we're finally going to have a Fantastic Four movie in which at least most people will because you look at all the other Fantastic Four movies, most people just generally hate those movies. Hell, one of them was so bad it didn't even get a theatrical it didn't even get released. If you know that the '90s Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
I've seen clips of it. I've never been brave enough to hunt it down and watch it.
I have seen that movie, and I will say,
is it as bad as everyone says it is?
had it been actually released, this would have taken over. This would have been put over Supergirl, the '80s Supergirl movie, as the worst comic book movie I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Jesus Christ.
And I've seen some people go, "Oh, that's the best one." I'm like, "How? What?" Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm great. I mean, it's all opinions, but I'm just like, you can't tell me that. Are you good? Like, I dare anyone to find one thing in that Roger Corman Fantastic Four that was that they thought was actually better than anything the 2015 one did. I mean, because like even the 2015 one, even if you don't like it, I'd still contend there are some good things in it. At least.
I mean, you know, I don't want to put my foot in my own mouth, but I'd say that most things at least do one thing right, and I mean, some definitely do it more than others. I didn't enjoy the Fantastic Four 2015
I mean, most people
film
didn't.
that
I'm
much, but
I'm
I also wouldn't classify it as like the worst movie I've ever seen. I think that a lot of people that do that more so out of attachment to the Fantastic Four property than actually judging the film on its own merits, which is fine, whatever. But I I definitely don't think it's the worst superhero movie I've ever seen. I can think of a few off rip that I've seen that aren't that are worse. Superman 2006, for example, I think genuinely is. I would rather sit through the Fantastic Four 2015 than that.
there there are a few like that I would contend as like some of the worst comic book movies ever made, like Supergirl, Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
That's another one I was gonna say.
Son of the
I was about to
Mask.
say, yeah, woman, dude. I would rather sit through the Fantastic 2015,
The 2019
Fantastic
Hellboy
Four.
movie.
Dude, oh my gosh, that the one where he looks like a freaking Hellboy, except he got into meth.
No, I don't mind the makeup. That was like one of the only good things about the movie I could find, because
It wasn't the makeup more so than the character design. I just thought he looked way too lanky and
For me,
gaunt.
the biggest problem with that movie is that it was like exploiting the R rating to an annoying degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really hated that Hellboy movie, but regardless,
The writing was also pretty not good.
like literally, there's like like they'll like literally just say fuck for like no reason, or like
For like 90 minutes. It's pretty bad.
yeah. But hopefully, especially if John Krasinski directs the next Fantastic Four, like I don't know if he'll star in it. I mean, I could see it going either way. Like he directs the next Fantastic Four and stars in it, or he just directs the next Fantastic Four and has a new cast. I don't know. All I know is that Sue Storm in this universe is a widow. So, also I just realized he said that he had kids. So, I mean, granted, you probably know more about the Fantastic Four than I do, but
It was probably a this universe thing. I
mean, yeah.
I know that there have been some comic book instances where, yes, Reed Richard and Sue do reproduce to have super little Fantastic Fourlings. But, well, what they were going with in that universe, I don't know. Your guess would be as good as mine.
I don't know. That was always interesting. But yeah. So yeah, the Illuminati was killed, and like I said, there are three things in life that are a guarantee: death, taxes. Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier will die. It doesn't even matter what movie he's in. I'm just going to expect him to die. So, yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I have a dark sense of humor, but yeah, what were you saying?
I said nothing at the moment, but yeah, I agree. Like he went out in a very gruesome fashion.
Yeah, man, and speaking of more of the art of like the gruesomeness, like there was also the there's like zombie Doctor Strange or something like that. Like
when he possessed the corpse of the first Doctor Strange that we saw die.
Yeah, like that again. that was like I was kind of shocked they got away with that. But then again, I guess technically there weren't really that many running, organs or blood. It was just kind of a dry corpse. But
Yeah.
but even then, it was still kind of it was still
But
kind
she
of
burned it and stuff. It was also missing like it did decomposed, I guess, fairly fast because of the necrotic whatever that first monster stabbed him with. But yeah, it was also a fairly decomposed corpse.
yeah. Um, I will like what were some of the other things that kind of I'm trying to think of any of the other things that kind of stood out to me. I will say like talking about like the visual effects in this are out of the like they are quite literally out of this world. Like this rivals like Avengers Infinity War like as with like the best visual effects I've seen because although granted, like with Infinity War, a lot of that was for me is put on Thanos and how amazing he looked, and so this is definitely right up there. Now, granted, I don't think Doctor Strange 2 is going to win Best Visual Effects. It's going to get a nomination, but considering we saw the trailer for Avatar 2. I think that's a pretty safe bet that Marvel's not going to win it this year once again.
Yeah, sad but true.
But yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to think of any other like major points here. Like, again, like oh yeah, the cinematography I think is probably the best out of any MCU movie. Like,
Yeah, they had a lot of interesting shots. I especially really liked the any of the stuff where they were like trying to get the Book of Ashanti or whatever. All the shots in there were always at very interesting angles, especially the second time that they go back there with like actual Doctor Strange. And you get that shot where they open up the tunnel door and then it like comes out and then reorients the camera. I thought that was really really cool.
but like the way the camera would spin around, go upside down, and all like it
Yeah,
was
just
going
take a bunch of interesting angles.
like there
Yeah.
was even this one point where it's with Wanda. I forget what exact scene it was, but like the camera is almost looks like it's like handheld or whatnot. But I don't know if it is. It's probably like a steady cam that where it's like getting all these crazy shots. And once again, it felt a lot like Evil Dead in that
Yes.
sense. Like
Yep.
that kind of like crazy cinematography. And especially the editing was really good, especially like when it cuts between Wanda and then the other Wanda with her sons, and
Yeah, see, and that's another one that reminded me a lot of the camera work in that scene where she first invades like her house and then like invades her body. The camera is sort of at the beginning of that is kind of like running away from, but also chasing.
oh yeah,
The other Wanda.
it's sort of the perspective of our universe as Wanda.
Yeah, yeah, and I liked how that also gave me some Evil Dead vibes with like the thing that chases Ash throughout the woods and stuff.
There's a lot of
Um,
Evil Dead homages in
yeah,
this.
yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
especially considering, well, I mean, Sam Raimi did direct that, so he's just kind of doing his own film.
Yeah, I expected it, but I didn't know they were gonna let him get away with that much. I love it though. It worked
I like.
phenomenally.
I mean, hell, I wasn't even really expecting Sam Raimi's, thumbprint to be that much in this movie. Because again,
No, you said at the beginning when we were talking about um
like,
directors and stuff,
yeah,
it's Kevin Feige's show and
yeah,
stuff, and I was like, yeah, I mean for the most part, yeah.
yeah. Because like before this, I would say like the director, like the movie that probably had the director's thumbprint the most on there, I'd probably say was Thor Ragnarok, with Taika
Ragnarok, maybe
Waititi.
even yeah, Thor Ragnarok for sure. Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit as well. I think
I
would be in the running.
I'd honestly kind of say like with like I didn't see like seeing the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker where that was entirely James Gunn. I was like looking back at Guardians of the Galaxy. I was like, okay, I could see like there are small hints of James Gunn, but this definitely is a Kevin Feige movie. But in this, there's a lot of Sam Raimi in this movie. Like he is in a
Yeah, and it's some of it's incredibly on the nose, like the Bruce Campbell cameo. I
oh
love
yeah,
that.
like him just
And then the post credit scene. The
Oh yeah,
Excuse me.
like in well, the end credit scene where like Bruce Campbell, he like the spell stops working and he just looks at the camera and says, "I'm free," and it's like, what the fuck? Because like I wasn't expecting him to like fully break the fourth wall like that, but then again, maybe he's just looking in the distance. I don't know, but the way the camera was positioned was kind of funny for that.
Definitely created a little bit of a fourth wall break, to put it lightly. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the mid credit scene. Out of nowhere, Charlize Theron just appears in this movie. Like,
Yeah, and
in the mid credit
actually,
scene.
I started thinking about who that might be, and the purple is kind of what was kind of making me think. Not only the purple, but the realm that she opened. So, in the comics, at least, there's this character whose name is Kayla, Caela, and she is like effectively one of Doctor Strange's nemesis, or not Carla, sorry, but she's like one of Doctor Strange's nemesis,
Nemesis.
Mamapusa. Um, but anyways, the Cleo or whatever, fucking. I think that's who that was, and the reason that she opened up the thing that makes me say that is that she opened up a thing to what looked like the Dormammu dimension, and the reason I say this is because in the comics she's Dormammu's like granddaughter.
Oh wait, I think it says her name is Clea.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. I knew it started with a C. I had a hard time remembering her name because she's not like a minor character. She actually does turn into a super cool character in the comics and has kind of a neat redemption arc. But yeah, she's like one of Doctor Strange's arch nemesis for a hot minute because she is also Dormammu's grandchild.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull up an image of her right here, and boop, there we go. There. Oh, hold on. Let me just. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about her as I was watching her too, and the Dormammu thing was I was like,
'Cause
that's
I saw
why I turned to you and I was like, that's why I turned to you and I was like, yeah, bro, it is Dormammu,
Yeah, it is
multiverse of madness.
Yeah, like and again, this is like because even though I didn't tell you initially because I didn't want to spoil it to you, but I did know about the whole John Krasinski thing. I knew about. I mean, now granted, I kind of knew Captain Carter was in this movie, but not because of any spoilers, but because you could clearly see her shield in one of the posters, and even then, like they put her in the marketing, but they never showed John Krasinski. But
The most exposure I got for the movie was just some of the trailers. I hadn't seen too many posters, and I also avoided Reddit and the internet for the last like week just because I didn't wanna. I wanted to go in.
yeah, I already.
Blind.
So yeah, I already did know about John Krasinski, but like I didn't know anything about Charlize Theron being in this
No,
movie.
yeah, Clea, and I it took me a minute to really the thing that sort of made me think about it was her opening the thing, and I was like, dude, that looks like Dormammu stuff, and then I had to think about it for a minute because I was like, where have I seen that before?
I wasn't even paying attention to that. I was just paying attention to the fact that wait, Charlize Theron's in this movie. What the hell? Like that was like the first thing that came to mind.
And then the purple, so the purple in combination with the Dormammu thing makes me think that we're gonna be seeing Clea in probably either the next Doctor Strange film or well, definitely in the next Doctor Strange film, I think, but also maybe there might be some kind of Disney Plus TV show at some point.
I don't know. I think for someone like as big as Charlize Theron and with Doctor Strange, I think they're probably just going to go with a movie on this. Like someone like America Chavez, I could see as like a Disney Plus series because America Chavez is not really well known, and especially the star isn't well known. Whereas with someone like Clea,
I see. I don't know how well known Clea is because it took me a hot minute.
I didn't know who she was either. That's why I think she's just going to be like in a as a sidekick in Doctor Strange 3 or maybe some other movie.
I don't know. I disagree. I disagree because even if they do that, I don't see or at least for me, I think that it would be much more effective to, like with WandaVision and then Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, to literally just do both. Give her the Disney Plus TV show and then also throw her in as a supporting character in the upcoming Doctor Strange film that we know is coming.
The-
Because I feel like there's a lot left to explain about how exactly he caused an incursion on her universe. They definitely are going to have to explore her connection to Dormammu, depending on how they want to explain the character or what they're doing with it. And I just don't know if it would very. I feel like I could definitely see her getting a Disney Plus TV series.
And I think really the other thing that kind of makes me wonder, I think maybe the main thing that makes me push back on this being a Disney Plus series instead of her being a sidekick in Doctor Strange 3 is that these kind of effects, I don't see how they would do this on TV. Like even something like The Mandalorian or even the Marvel shows, the effects are still kind of small scale in comparison to the movies.
They wouldn't really need to, and they kind of to some degree sort of have touched on the surface of doing that with WandaVision. And like I said, it's not. I don't think it's a. You're kind of turning into an Occam's razor, right? Like it's one or the other. It's not. I think it's going to be both. I think she's going to get a Disney Plus TV series, and then also she's going to be in Doctor Strange 3.
Yeah.
As a supporting character.
I mean, who knows? But yeah, like I said, overall, I really, I really like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Dare I say, maybe loved. This one has a lot. Like, how do I describe it? Like, this one has the most style out of any MCU film. Wanda, has definitely become one, like at least in my top three. Top three MCU villain. Oh, thanks. I wasn't sneezing, but I was yawning. But yeah. Brain. Wanda has definitely become like in my top three favorite MCU villains. Everything about the look of this film, like the cinematography, the editing, the effects, all that was fantastic. Kevin Feige said he was gonna go kind of hardcore with this in a horror route. I wasn't.
He definitely did.
Yeah, he definitely went way harder than I thought the MCU would ever go, and I hope, I'm not saying the MCU needs to do R-rated stuff. I mean, well, technically, I guess they are doing R-rated stuff because they are, the Deadpool 3 is going to be in the MCU. But yeah, this came very close to an R rating. The direction from Sam Raimi was great. Really like the character of America Chavez. I really like, all the the little bits and cameos are fun, but they didn't distract from the story. All that was.
And I think as a whole, like thinking about them all together, they come to add a lot to the experience for sure. But it was, yeah, you're absolutely right. Especially the crazier ones, they were very contained, and it didn't take up too much screen time.
Yeah, and it really does make me wonder what's going to happen after this. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
No, me too.
Like, will we see John Krasinski direct and potentially star in a Fantastic Four movie? What will Charlize Theron's future be in the MCU? What, is Charles Xavier, in this, like the one from the animated series? Who knows? But yeah, I think I would say I really, really enjoyed this film. I probably even like it more than the first one, especially considering the villain is a lot more memorable here. I mean, granted, we've known about Wanda for like well over half a decade, so yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I think made her so effective, and I gotta agree with you. I liked it a lot. I actually would go so far as to say that I loved it. And with Wanda, especially with how they've kept her role in the MCU generally has been as the good guy, I guess at first, not in Ultron, she was a villain for a hot minute, but she had a redemption arc,
Yeah.
and after that point, seemed inclined to do the right thing. And I think that really helped in making her a villain. So they definitely had an uphill battle with making her a villain, right? Because the whole thing about villains is that you kind of have to on some level not like them, but also you sort of have to like them for it to work. And I think that they got the second part of that completely nailed in the sense that she's already an established character. All that work's already been done. Great. But the first part of that, not liking her, I still think that they achieved that excellently
They
in
made us
how they
fear
portray
her.
her. Yeah, and how they portray her in the film itself, and also, of course, WandaVision, because WandaVision does, I think, add a lot to this movie. It's one of those you can take it or leave it, but I would definitely recommend taking it. Like, see it before you see um, Doctor Strange 2, or see it after, to sort of get some added context that I think adds a lot
Well, yeah,
to her.
because like overall, I liked WandaVision. I was disappointed by the last two episodes, but overall, I still very much enjoyed WandaVision, and especially how when it was focusing on like the mystery and all these weird different kind of sitcom styles. All that was very cool and kind of eerie, and we definitely saw the payoff of that eeriness in this film.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree.
So yeah, I think those are. I would say those are our thoughts on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Like I said, this is I really hope the MCU takes more of these kind of visually artistic chances with their movies because
Yeah,
this made it feel because it still feels like it's part of the MCU, but it
right.
also feels
It
like
has like its own, it has its own character, and I liked
yeah.
that.
Yeah, again, like I said, it has the best atmosphere out of any MC movie that I've seen. So yeah, if you've seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, like I said, this is going to be up on Sunday. And any final thoughts?
No, not really. Um, I think I said pretty much everything that I wanted to say about the movie. I enjoyed it a lot, as I'm sure I've said numerous times. But yeah, no, I had a blast, and I recommend that if you're still watching now for whatever reason and you haven't seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, even though you know now everything that happens pretty much, go out and see it. It's really good.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And, like I said, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you want to see more of these videos. Hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon if you haven't,
Yeah,
rung it.
the share button also deserves love,
Yeah,
and
the share
so
button. Yeah, the share button definitely. I don't have the graphic for the like button right now, or like the subscribe button because I just got a new computer, and so I haven't transferred all my files onto this one yet. But but the message is still clear. Like and subscribe, and I guess I don't have that. My brain is soft. If you don't want my brain to get any more soft, hit that like and subscribe button. So see ya. Whoopsies, I forgot an end screen. Ah, yeah. I guess there is no end screen. So, uh, like I said, like and subscribe anyway, or I'll be sad. Yeah.